Blitz Esports releases new videos every week. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out.
Hey guys, welcome to a new Blitz Meta Report, where we break down the latest league trends in just a couple of minutes. This week, we're talking about runes. Burst damage runes were nerfed back with 8.16 when Riot was worried that they were messing with game pacing. As we hit 8.17, we're starting to see enough data on what the most effective rune builds are after the update. Most importantly, it looks like there's a new rune for Electrocute junglers. Even though Electrocute got a buffed cooldown to offset its damage nerf, that doesn't matter much for junglers. They don't spend a lot of time interacting with an opponent, so they suffer from the damage decrease without the advantages of the lower cooldown. So what's the best alternative? We do see some picks, like kha'zix, taking Predator. Africa's Spirit actually made the switch before the nerf and started the trend, and now more solo queue players are following. But more popular has been Dark Harvest, especially on old Electrocute favorites like Lee Sin, kha'zix, Rengar, Kayn, Nidalee, and Evelynn, and even on precision users like Graves. But is Dark Harvest a good replacement? Let's start by looking at the math. It's pretty easy to calculate Electrocute scaling with standard item builds, but Dark Harvest is trickier. Every game is a little different in terms of how many souls you pick up. In some games you won't fight as much early, or in others you might get to clean up a fight where everyone dropped souls. So to get a solid number, we looked at multiple high elo games with Darkin Kayn, kha'zix, and Evelynn, since they represent a variety of builds. Then we recorded souls data at each level for multiple types of games, from awful defeats to snowballs. Take a look at the results. You'll notice pretty even numbers in the early game, but no matter if you're rolling in souls or a bit behind, Dark Harvest always performs better by mid and late game. Take this Evelynn game specifically. She had a super slow early game and fell behind, but as she got into fights and racked up souls, she ended up putting out more damage than if she had Electrocute in that same game. Of course, if you're being absolutely stomped and lose in 15 to 20 minutes, chances are Electrocute would have been better for the base damage, but in most cases, Dark Harvest is on top. So the math is in Dark Harvest's favor, but there are some drawbacks to using it over Electrocute. Playstyle is a big one. Electrocute will always proc with 3 instances of damage as long as it's off cooldown, but you need to have recently picked up a soul to use Dark Harvest. In the early game, before getting 150 souls, you'll only have 20 seconds to use Dark Harvest's buff, so you may be going into fights without being soul charged, and that means 0 extra damage. Once you reach 150 souls, the buff duration is extended to 300 seconds, and this is less of an issue. On the other hand, Dark Harvest has its advantages. In long drawn-out fights with multiple players, or fights that you enter late, the rune will absolutely outperform Electrocute, since any deaths can drop souls and get you damage resets. So where does that leave us? Overall, you'll need to change how you approach fights to get the most out of Dark Harvest, since you want an active soul for an invade or a gank. But if you manage well enough, at least in solo queue, it'll outperform Electrocute consistently. For more meta stats and guides from Blitz, download our desktop app for League of Legends. We not only tell you the best builds for your champion, but also help you look up teammate stats and enemy playstyles, totally automatic as you go through Champ Select. Intrigued? Check it out at blitz.gg/lolguides.